welcome back, welcome back. It looks like we have people coming in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome back, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to turn this over to Julio Cotto, the co-ED, my co-ED in the 2021 CWSx program, who's going to make some remarks prior to going into our final round of competition.
Good evening and welcome to all the participants. I know that this is day 2 of what has actually been a 5-day experience online. The first time that NHI is doing the Thought Series online. Last year, we only did the League Series, and you're the first class to actually participate in both the League and the Thought Series. So history is being made today. Just before we move any further, we just wanted to take a moment to pause and to thank our wonderful sponsors that have helped make this program experience possible this year. We really couldn't have done CWS and a lot of our online experiences this summer without the support of State Farm. They have been an outstanding partner, helping for several years, and this year in particular, also supporting the Collegiate World Series, CWSx. We also cannot thank enough for the second year in a row being a sponsor of this program and actually going on close to a decade of sponsoring the Texas CWS on their campus. And we hope to be back in 2022, but even through the pandemic last summer and this summer, thank you so much, the University of North Texas. And those of you who are in Jareth's team, that's where Jareth Quintero, one of our interns and senior mentors, goes to school. So let's be like Jareth and check out UNT this year, but also UNT, we really cannot thank you enough for your support, for your guidance, for your participation, for your coaching. We really thank you so much. Also, a new partner to the National Hispanic Institute this year from my home state of Pennsylvania in the Pittsburgh area out in West Pennsylvania, St. Francis University, who's also been a partner and an investor in making this possible. Thank you so much. Right now, what you're going to be seeing, those of you that are streaming from your devices or on your way home or at home, we want you to let you know that what we are about to embark on is the final round. We have 6 teams that will competing in our final round of what's called our Inquiry-Based Learning Challenge, the Thought Series. These students have been working for 2 days, asking tough questions, trying to get to the root of challenges, case studies, and really trying to envision the future. And so tell you a little bit more about the students, the process, and what you're going to see. I'll pass it back in just a second to Mark. After the finals are over, I ask that you stay logged in as we do a quick transition, because right at 5 o'clock, we will return. And not only are we going to find out who's going to win the Thought Series, but we are also going to recognize our seniors. We would have wanted to have an in-person graduation, and we are still working to figure out how we get together as soon as possible. But this evening, we will make sure that we have a chance to recognize your efforts and give you a little preview of what's in store for you. And with that, thank you all so much. Thank you for watching and streaming. And with that, I pass it back to Mark.
Thank you very much, Julio. Again, thank you to our sponsors for making this possible. Just a kind of a side note, my mother and my aunt are graduates from the University of North Texas. And so go green for those who are familiar with the UNT. Guys, it's been a journey. The first 3 days, we were able to do the League Series, where you guys had an opportunity to network, meet, learn with college admissions officers, begin really honing in on your skills as you guys embark on the college selection process. But to build upon that process, we came into the Thought Series. And for those who are tuning in, watching, the Thought Series, as Julio mentioned, is a focus on a concept that we introduced to the students called inquiry-based learning. And it's really an organizational strategy to addressing challenges, where we challenge the students to dig deeper into issues, problems, so that they can begin going through a process that helps them organize their thoughts and develop viable solutions in addressing these issues. It takes a lot of thought. The 6 processes that we introduced them to, and you guys have done a phenomenal job in growth Think about the first time you guys did your first one till the last. That being said, for those who are watching or tuning in today, the prompts and the issues that we give them are going to require a lot of discussion, a lot of questioning, a lot of investigation and creation, and you guys get to see the fruition of their work over the last day and a half. And just to put things in perspective, for the participants, imagine we've only been doing this for a day. And you think about how that has impacted your way of thinking and addressing problems. And we look forward to you guys using this strategy in making your future decisions that are going to impact your life and the lives of many others in a very positive way. But without further ado, let's jump in right into the finals of the Thought Series. And before I do so, I'd like to announce the team names. These teams were selected randomly at first and allow the students to be able to get together, build that cohesion, work together, and produce amazing outcomes and presentations with little very direction. And that's what we expect from NHIers. You don't have to give us a lot, but we will make and produce phenomenal, excellent presentations. And I'm excited about the future of our leaders taking us into the mid 21st century and beyond. But let's go without further ado, the teams. Team number one, guys, you know I like to see those virtual applauses. So with your reactions, give me your applause. Representing team one, we have the Wild Cards. Big round of applause for the Wild Cards. That going up first for just recognition. Good job, Wild Cards. We also have participating team number two, the Ask-Aways. Very good. Welcome, guys. Congratulations. I want to see those virtual applause. Let's see. We also have on team number three, the Honey Badgers. Honey Badgers, a big round of applause. For team four, we have the People. The People, team number four. Team number five, we have the Mavericks. The Mavericks, big round of applause for the Mavericks. And last but not least, a team full of Texans to represent team number six, the Texans. All right, round of applause, round of applause. All right, guys, you know the rules. Standing ovation. I'm going to dip back into my selection process, the very high-tech form of selecting who's going to be the very first team. You guys know the rules. When I call your team, you guys should have access, host access, to be able to share your team, share your screens. You guys will have 4 minutes for your presentation. At that point, once you finish, we'll ask that you guys hold your applause. I will select the next team, and we will get through this round, give you guys a little break while we're telling the scores, and get into the closing remarks and then the announcements of the final team. So going first, selecting here, I select, 1 second. Team number one, the Wild Cards. Wild Cards, I'm going to turn my mic off, and whenever you're ready.
Hello, everybody. My name is Nathan Macias. I'm from Grays Lake, Illinois, and this is our final challenge. As you can see here, this is the prompt that was given to every group, and what we did as a group is we went in and found the keywords that would help us later in our project. We chose these words in specific because through development, growth, community, challenge, opportunity, and advancing community interests, they all pointed towards innovation using an asset-based mindset, which we also used as a keyword. Using the given words, we moved into the ask portion to understand why these were included and why they were important, which eventually led us to our root challenge.
So the questions that we asked ourselves as a group were, why is it important to set a vision? Why is innovation so important for future and current Latinx leaders? And why is NHI important to leadership? We also asked, why are old paradigms focused on social justice advocacy? These questions were some of the first questions that led to more questions later on. Some of the questions that these led to were, why have existing paradigms been slow to adapt to the changing world? Why are paradigms necessary? And why haven't institutions been able to adapt to the needs of the changing world? These questions led us to discover the root of the challenge. So the root of the challenge, which we found, was adapting to a changing world using innovation, leadership, and an asset-based mindset.
So after identifying the root of the challenge, we were able to develop some investigate questions. We were able to make a whole list of investigate questions in order to dive into the informational aspect of the challenge. But these are some of the most relevant questions regarding to our project and the presented root challenge. Some of these are, what old paradigms regarding social advocacy have been unsuccessful and successful in meeting the community's needs? What methods have been adapted by the Latinx community in order to fulfill the community's interests? How has the impact of previous paradigms been measured? What characteristics make up an asset-based mindset? How can a community benefit from a leader within an asset-based mindset? And lastly, what is NHI currently doing to adapt to a fast-changing world?
So then to brainstorm possible approaches to the challenge, we had to look back at the root. We had to think about how the approaches would encompass the changing world, Latinx community, and asset-based mindset, how we would use the resources already available and use innovative leaders to enhance the Latinx community and nurture new leaders that would look at the world differently and would keep the NHI program going and expanding. So we came up with 4 things. Refining existing programs so we could expand to other countries and create a new model by adapting to their different forms of government and language. We could also create new programs, add new branches of NHI to create programs that target current issues. For example, Latinos taking on climate change or leaders in medicine. And then we also came up with for a possible approach, a documentary series. So creating maximum opportunities from the technologies already available, it would show the progress and development of NHI through film, teaching Latinx communities about current issues and exposing the world to the wonderful power and resources of the Latinx community. And lastly, we came up with collaborating with other institutes. We could address issues not only facing the Latinx communities, but other communities as well, and work together to take on those challenges.
So for the reflect portion, we took all of these ideas into consideration and we discussed how realistic each plan was. For example, refining a current program would be much less of a hassle than actually creating a new program. And as for financially, we discussed how we would get funding for each, what is our budget, and would we do fundraisers such as bake sales or car washes? And we also had lots of other questions such as how would the documentary help long term? Who would actually see the documentary? And if there were multiple programs, what would the participant turnout look like? And how would we be able to get more participants involved? We also had to take into consideration the resources needed for each idea, such as more volunteers and more willing colleges willing to sponsor the programs on campus. And how would we determine success, whether that be with movie ratings or participant turnout, and any assumptions that we might have made with any of the ideas, such as how do we know everyone has the means to watch a documentary, or how many people were able and willing to participate in more programs?
Then we moved on onto the plan portion of the objective. We came up with Futura, which is our future-focused universal transformation using remodeling objectives new NHI model. This follows eight basic steps, which would start with analyzing information about the past and current participants and where they come from. For example, most of my teammates come from the US, while 2 of my teammates actually come from Mexico. Then we would move on to readapting those current programs to globalization, meaning not only keep them focused on what is happening within the Americas or what is happening within the US, but to all other forms of government and all other forms of thinking that could lead NHI to a global organization. The next step would be to identify areas, issues, topics that are relevant to our community, and with these create new programs based on what we believe Latinos could thrive in as leaders. With these, we could develop global-minded leaders that can take on leadership positions in any level, any area, and take on current issues and solving them using the inquiry-based learning that they could learn through the CWS. This would lead us to then create a documentary which would be both our marketing strategy as a way to track and show our progress throughout these next 50 years into the future. The next step would be working with a partner to bring the documentary series to a streaming or professional platform, which will create a vision of what we want the world to look like with NHI, collaborating with other types of institutions during the next 50 years. And to maintain this adaptation in a changing world, we would have our yearly revision and readapting every program with new adaptations each year in this changing world. The methodology that we'll be following is a 4-step methodology of research, analysis and creation, evaluation, and readapt and change to what the world is offering and the opportunities that we could create as the fundamentals of NHIs have taught us.
The last step is to evaluate our project. Next slide, please. Pre and post program surveys would be offered to participants in order to receive feedback about the programs. The director of each program would record the number of students that participated in each program, as well as the number of students that volunteered for each program to further evaluate the success of the programs. Additionally, participant engagement would be monitored by volunteers, and following the program, participants will report their volunteer hours for a full school year in order to determine how well the skills taught in the program were understood. Regarding the documentary series, reviews from viewers on film review sites would be used to evaluate the success of the documentary. Next slide, please. For this project, we would need to consider the cost of running new programs in addition to existing programs. How many programs are we able to successfully run at one time? How else can we recruit new members and expand to new countries? We would also need to consider gathering the necessary resources to develop the documentary, such as a film crew. The revisions we would make to our existing plan involve the documentary series. During the making of the documentary, we would aim to incorporate the lives and journeys of NHI members and alumni, and we would partner with an NHI alumni filmmaker who shares our visions and values.
Thank you. We are the wild cards.
Good job. Round of applause. Virtual round of applause. All right, next we are going to the honey badgers. Honey badgers, you are next.
Good afternoon. We're Group 3, also known as the Honey Badgers, and this is our final challenge.
The first process is known as ask. Ask. When asking a question, you have to focus on the why. Our team came with came up with all these questions. Why a system? Why is the system no longer beneficial? Is the system outdated? If so, why is the system outdated? Why have the old paradigms not been working? Why is population, climate, and technology important to the community? Why are systems having difficulty meeting the needs of the community? Why Latinx leaders? Are Latinx leaders composed of NHI alumni or people outside the organization?
While asking all these questions, we came to some basic realizations. Some of those being that local communities face difficulties connecting to basic fundamentals that allow them to prosper. And there's also a big lack of education in Latinx community and impoverished areas. Another thing is that putting the next generations and youth forwards could bring about potential change. And creating a system that addresses the evolving interest of the Latinx community could help advance community interest. Therefore, the root challenge that we came to was reshaping systems to ensure future generations are receiving the proper education for leadership opportunities.
Next is the investigative portion of the IBL process. In investigating, we had to discover and gather questions that could allow us to gain more information, such as what is a paradigm? What is the vision? What is it that the community needs that is not being met in the first place with the old paradigm set? What are the community interests? Is it more based on their population, their geography, the climate, the technology? What can we do to appeal to the current or future generations? What are the external and internal factors that are opposing, creating challenges, or creating the opportunities given to the Latinx communities? Why do community interests need to be advanced?
Now it is the create step in the IBL process. Some ideas that we came up with is having high school students continue volunteering after school and also expanding the program by incorporating such as clubs, organizations, and also course curriculums.
Some other ideas that we had in our brainstorming phase was to build more infrastructure, reframing the internal organizations, to have changing leadership, bring new leaders, new ideas, extend collaboration. We could also bring in different perspective leaders for different community roles, create interns for a year, community representatives, and helping with recruiting, expanding, networking, and connecting, everything that NHI wants to do.
The fourth IBL process is reflect. How are we going to include SPICE into our plan? Will our plan help the next generation make a change? Does this system address the evolving interests of the Latinx community? Does SPICE apply to the community interest? What are things that the community cares about that ties back to the social advocacy and reform? Will our plan reflect the NHI fundamentals 2 and 3?
So then we went into the IBL process of planning. So what this included was our what, who, how, and why. So our what for our plan was involving the National Hispanic Institute with pre-existing curriculums and institutions. So who is involved? This would mean that institutions that are already in partnership with NHI could be involved, such as universities, colleges, pre-existing institutions that NHI has collaborated with. To teach these different curriculums or courses, we could have NHI alumni as professors, preferably if they were involved with educational teams or educational directors. How? Our idea was to create a major or minor within universities. So we would title it Future Latinx Leadership Skills, or if they don't want a major or minor to such an extensive commitment, they can also take an elective at that college, such as we would title it
intro to proactive leadership, the Latinx perspective. And this course would touch on different skills such as public speaking, debate, and different ways of learning. So why are we doing this? Well, as we were saying earlier, we want to address and ensure that proper education within the Latinx community is being facilitated, extend involvement in partnership further than just the high school programs such as the Great Debate, the LDZ, and the CWS. And also it would touch on the opportunity to have internships and job opportunities within the National Hispanic Institute. To promote and ensure our fundamentals of NHI, we would focus on treasuring, protecting, and promoting our legacy.
Next up, we have reevaluation. So we have decided to ask ourselves, how many students have joined the classes? How many students continue to return? What do the students think of the class? Are they likely to recommend it to their classmates? And do students further show their interest? Are they actively engaged, coming to professor hours?
Thank you for listening to our plan.
Good job, honey badgers. Next up, we have, big round of applause. We have Team For the People.
We are Team For the People, and this is our CWSx final challenge. Here is the prompt. The year is 2051. The Latinx community continues to grow and develop. Population growth, climate change, and the explosion of technology have created both challenges and opportunities for the community and the world. Established social, economic, and political structures and institutions have been slower to adapt to the needs of the changing world. Old paradigms focused on social justice advocacy have not accomplished enough to meet the community's needs. Advocate intelligent, resourceful, and compassionate Latinx leaders are needed in advanced communities' interest to create a vision for the future that will carry the Latinx community over the next 50 years. You are the board of directors of the National Hispanic Institute. Take action, go. Questions that we asked ourselves. Why establish social, economic, and political structures and institutions? Why have the established social, economic, and political structures and institutions been slower to adapt? Why do the old paradigms of social injustice advocacy develop? To what extent have they worked in the past? Why is it necessary to create a vision for the future? Why is it important for the NHI that Latinx leaders receive training? And what is the goal desired that to be the end of the next 50 years?
All right, so the root of our challenge is adapting leadership ideals and community building pathways for younger generations over the next 50 years. And that, for our investigate questions, some of the ones that we asked were, what challenges and opportunities are being created? What are we adapting to? What are the new community needs? What are the old paradigms? How do we implement new approaches to compel the future Latinx community leaders to create community change? What is the Latinx population like? What is the demographic breakdown? How has climate change affected Latinx communities? How has globalization affected the Latinx community? How are people using technology in leadership contexts? What are trends in the Latinx community that are expected to continue, and what are trends that are expected to decline in the near future?
So while attempting to solve this root challenge that we found, we each came up with our own ideas, and we quickly found that they were all very similar. So we mixed them together into a bit of a mixing pot, and we came up with a fourth NHI program that would happen after your senior year, involving travel to areas where Hispanic culture runs deep within, and the goal of promoting Latinx pride and creating a cohesive global Latinx identity.
So in this step, we evaluated our potential solution and we asked ourselves, is creating a new program necessary? Would expanding like this mean providing lackluster content, but in a more widespread way? What resources would be needed to achieve this goal? How should the organization determine where to host this new program, and how many should be created in total? Having a program involving travel to other countries requires passports. How can the organization ensure that this is not a barrier to students? What are the goals of the program on its own and as a part of the series of existing NHI programs? And would the cost of traveling be too expensive? Sorry.
For our plan, we ended up creating a new program and naming it the Latinx World Cup, following the trend of sports analogies like the Great Debate Sweet 16 or the Collegiate World Series. And this would be an 8-day program that we split up into 2 parts to focus on creating Latino leadership in the context of tomorrow. And for part 1, we looked back at NHI's third fundamental, which is celebrate and cherish our Latino culture. And so it would be composed of 5 days of cultural education and immersion within the host location. And it would culminate in a World's Fair style competition where each team prepares a project that represents a Latin American country. And so the first part, along with education, would have that competitive aspect that is present in every NHI program. Then for part 2, we took inspiration from a specific quote from the epilogue of Third Reality, which is, we provide them with the means that take the best of different Latino cultures to weld together a vision of who they intend to become as a global society of tomorrow. So deviating from the competitive nature of the first half, participants will spend the program's final 3 days building a global political framework with the goal of creating a unified Latino vision for the future, welding these cultures together. And so because by 2050, Hispanics are projected to make up 30% of the US population and the majority of several states, along with continuing positive trends in education, socioeconomic status, and civic engagement, this will allow us to shift our focus to advancing the international Latino community. We would analyze large-scale political movements like the Pink Tide in South America, examine how cooperation between nations can combat global warming, and explore the effects that globalization and technological advancements have on labor and capital in Latin America. In this capstone to the high school programs, NHRs will use the skills they've developed and the global perspective from part 1 to ask what comes next. And, could you go back a slide? So for possible destinations, we came up with Puerto Rico because there's no passport required for US visitors, the Rio Grande Valley in Texas, which is a domestic location, but as referenced earlier, is a place where Hispanic culture runs deep. Mexico City, and as part of expansion further into South America, Buenos Aires in Argentina. And for the logistics of it, we decided that it would probably be best to use universities as host institutions as with the other programs, or possibly partner with tour companies to coordinate travel.
Following this step, we had to evaluate our program and figure out how we could best determine whether this program was serving the participants. After each program, we would collect data on how many participants were being served annually and whether the figures were increasing. in addition to the rate of retention between CWS and this new program, how many participants return as staff members or as volunteers with NHI as a whole. And we would also conduct pre and post-program surveying, which would evaluate things that are hard data, such as number of countries or Latinx leaders that they can name before and after the program, in addition to their familiarity with certain historical events or figures. And following that, we would also want to evaluate some subjective data, such as how connected they feel to their culture and how prepared they feel to lead the community. Some considerations we would want to revisit after every program is some cost effectiveness and the program locations and sites, whether they should be maintained or switch to new locations. In addition to updating the training and curriculum yearly in accordance with the NHI theme of the summer, as well as new developments in the world, and avoiding competition between national identities and instead promoting unity between the Latinx community as opposed to division within the different countries. Thank you.
Good job to people. Round of applause. Cue the applause. Come on, applause person. We need some applause. All right. There you go. There we go. We are live on YouTube, guys. So that you all know, in the link, in our chat, you guys can copy the link, send it out to all your friends, community, your parents to share so they guys can really appreciate everything that you're doing. All right, we have 3 more going through. We will now go to the Mavericks. Mavericks, you're up.
Hi everyone, we're the Mavericks and this is our final challenge project. So the first things that we had to ask ourselves was, why have the community's needs not been fulfilled? Why are those specific type of leaders needed? How can the community continue to grow? Why should it be important to identify what is needed to advance the community? Why does the community need advancement? What is the state of the community in terms of technology? Why is climate change still a problem, and what can the Latinx community do to alleviate it? As well as, why does the Latino community have to create more innovation in order to meet the population's needs? What is the intended vision for the future of the Latino community? And lastly, what will carry the Latino community over for the next 50 years? Next slide, please. So investigate. When we are investigating, we had to ask ourselves these questions. Who are the members of NHI in 2051? How can NHI be relevant in 2051? What impulse does the Latinx community need in order to grow social advocacy? How big is the Latinx community now? What assets can NHI use in order to impulse the growth of the Latinx community? What are the main challenges that NHI should focus on? How should NHI address the slower adaptations of different institutions? How can NHI find leaders with specific characters? How should NHI address in 2051? And how could NHI help meet community needs? Our root is, why should NHI continue to impulse a change in the Latinx community in 2051? It's not shown right here. I think that we're having some technical issues, but that is our root, and I'll go ahead and put it in the chat.
Great. We decided to come up with some ideas that we hadn't came up with in our past presentations. We decided to go with an NHI newsletter, a virtual reality show, a new NHI program using holograms and virtual reality, NHI for adults, NHI convention, and NHI festivals. Reflect. Considering the explosion of technological advances, we decided that creating a new NHI program using holograms and virtual reality is the best option. It gives more Latinx the opportunity that they can attend the program. It takes advantage of new technologies, and it's more inclusive. The other ideas were kind of out of date and wouldn't have the inclusion and impact that we're trying to aim for.
Okay, so you may be asking why create a new program if there are already 3 great programs done by NHI, but the difference for this program, I'm going to explain it right now. So the program, we decided to call it NHI Reality, which would be a new program for all ages, meaning kids, young adults, and teens, and adults, like for all ages, and obviously it would be age divided. We wanted to include all ages of the Latinx community to spark change all around the community and not just in young adults, because we do believe that young leaders have the power and are going to be obviously the leaders of the future. But since we're aiming for a bigger impact, we consider that including all the age groups would be important. And the special courses would be divided by age group, as I already mentioned. The courses would be around various topics that were mentioned in the prompt. The courses would be directed on leadership building, the challenges of today, all paradigms and how to get past them, and how institutions can adapt to the evolution of society. These programs, this new program, is focused on inclusion and interaction. We really want all age groups to interact with each other, maybe kids with some older age group, for them to spark curiosity and start being leaders since a younger age, and for adults to build off of the leadership that young people have nowadays. There will be special speaker conferences, which means that leaders of the Latinx community would come to the program and give special talks that would inspire the members of the Latinx community that would be attending this program. There will be a proposal introduction, which this is kind of inspired by LDC. We are aiming for proposing certain solutions to certain challenges that are happening or that will be happening in 2051. And we are aiming to propose them to different institutions of society and even to the government of certain places. The staff would be volunteers, either NHI alumni or different leaders of the Latinx community that know about these topics and that can give aid to the participants of this program. And the idea of using holograms and virtual reality, I know, seems a little bit ambitious, but we are hoping that with the explosion of technology, as it is stated in the prompt, holograms can facilitate the access to the program. And using virtual reality would be an immersion problem-solving experience, which would mean that by using virtual reality, you can actually see what the problem is and maybe spark some creativity in your brain to find new innovative solutions. So this slide contains images, but I'm going to describe. Oh, okay. The first image is of holograms, and this is a little bit futuristic, but we are expecting that from your own home or from somewhere else, wherever you're located in the world, you can be participating in the program, and you can interact with people from all around the world that are members of the Latinx community. And with the virtual reality, we are hoping that you can see a new approach to different challenges that are presented in the future, so you can solve them in an innovative way.
Next, the final step is evaluate. And first of all, the limitation is obviously that more funding is going to be needed and we also need to know who has the access to these kinds of new technologies, which is going to be difficult to evaluate, but it is possible. And how the program itself would be evaluated would be recording the number of participants in this new program and their return, because we wanted to make a recurring event rather than just once a year. And finally, using facial recognition tools, which also seems ambitious, but we are hopeful of the technological advances and to see the engagement of participants in real time. Thank you.
Good job, Mavericks. All right, round of applause. Everyone with their applause. Where's mine? Here we go. I like to see all the little hands popping up. Come on, guys. There we go. There we go. Andy, thank you. Ashley Obrego, thank you. Janelle, thank you. All right. Next up, we have the Ask-Aways. Ask-Aways, you're on.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ana Munoz. I am representing the Ask-Aways along with Jocelyn Garcia with the IBL Final Challenge.
So as the first process, we began to look at the prompt and started accumulating and formulating questions that we wanted to know more about. There's questions here on the screen, as you can see, but I want to talk about the other questions that we also had. What are the paradigms? What are paradigms and why are we using them for social justice advocacy? What are the community's needs and what is needed for the community to accomplish them? How do you adapt in the new world? What determines if an institution is adapting slowly? What is the definition of advancement? What are resources that can be used? How does NHI leadership work in order to meet community needs? What type of community aspects are being established through social advocacy? And through that, we formulated our route, which is the changing world needs changing leaders.
Then we moved on to our investigation, where we asked ourselves questions like, why are leaders important? What defines a leader? How can NHI enable its leaders to create bonds with communities? And how can the Latinx community have originality and produce more ideas as time goes on? Through these questions, we found information to create.
In the create process, we came up with 4 ideas, which was involving NHI in cultural festivals. You see, cultural festivals happen every year, so involving NHI in them would make them a staple for those events. It's very traditional for certain types of communities. NHI change initiatives, where we would divide participants into groups and have conversations on the social, environmental, or political issue or institutions with them. Community talks, where we would have leaders, organizations talk to their local communities and have conversations. We also thought about having NHI be recognized on a national or international level. This way, people understand this organization is much more than a smaller community with students, and working in aspects of understanding NHI can come into play and start conversations.
So through our create portion, we came up with having meetings with leaders and local communities at cultural events. That is our main objective. And then we went on to our reflect portion. Next slide, please. Okay. We reflected on multiple aspects of the community, unity, and different other outcomes. What are the values that we are upholding doing this? We are going to measure the process over time as, we constitute with this program, putting, NHI in cultural events. What is unrealistic and why? Something that would be unrealistic in this plan would be that every community is different, and communities have different aspects. Things like population, geography, or different type of things that might create this plan to have to change or be very flexible in order to meet the community's demands.
After reflecting, we started to formulate our plan, and our plan is to have NHI enlist in cultural events such as local events such as the Chalk on the Block in El Paso, San Antonio Fiesta, or even New York City festivals. During these events, we would have a booth and engage in festivity, have our members of NHI engage with communities. Another idea we had was to share a spotlight on Latinx artists, give them space to share their work with the community as well as lead change. You see, because artists are a direct contradiction of old paradigms, and they kind of contradict what the old aspect is in the old NHI way. Having NHI members engage with different cultural activities such as dancing, playing, cooking, this creates a sense of unity, since it's not NHI members just standing out and trying to recruit people, it's NHI involving themselves in the community, helping setting up and driving mutual aid funds to directly give back to the community, which incorporates the two NHI fundamentals. Invite a Latinx figure to speak to the community, whether this leader is from a medical facility, whether this leader is a politician, whether this leader is from different aspects and branches of the Latino community, to show the Latino youth what they are capable of. And this creates connections between community leaders and the community itself.
And lastly, we have evaluate. How are we going to measure our plan of success? We're going to record and analyze amount of attendees coming to the festivals. Like we had mentioned before, some areas have more larger populations while others are smaller. So we're going to try to find balance between both of them. So that way, just because there's a bigger population over here, it's not going to mean that, in this smaller population, just even if everybody went, it's going to look different compared to a bigger population. Record and track how many donations and money was raised for mutual aid funds and drives. This is something really important, because in order to move on with our plan and have booths, have events, we need to have donations. And going to areas that are more less populous might not bring as much money. We still need to reach those areas. So probably making more booths in a more populous area will bring us more funds. So yes, that's our evaluation. Thank you on behalf of the Askaway team.
Thank you. Big round of applause for the Askaways. Big round of applause. Let me see them. Bam, bam, bam. All right. Our last and final presentation goes to the Texans. Texans, you are up.
Hello, my name is Janelle Porras, and I am representing Team 6, the Texans. So the first step that we worked on as a team in this process was the ask portion. This was an important part of the process in order to allow us to really understand the prompt and get into our root question. Some of the important questions our team worked on is, how has the Hispanic community developed throughout the years? Why are we looking into the future? In what way are population growth, climate change, and the explosion of technology connected? Why are the established social structures and institutions taking longer to adapt to the needs of the world? Have the needs of the community changed, or do these paradigms no longer fit into the community? What assumptions, concepts, values, and practices need to be helped within the Latinx community? And lastly, why are intelligent, resourceful, and compassionate Latinx leaders needed in the future? How will they advance the community interest and create a vision? With critical thinking and having these questions in mind, we're able to reach our root question, which is, as board directors, how will we use the challenges and opportunities for our world to advance in Latinx community interest and create the future for generations to come? Investigating. How can we adapt to our challenges and opportunities in order to advance the Latinx community? How can we serve our community at present, but also in the future? Should all old paradigms be abandoned in favor for new ones? Will future Latinx leaders need to be held to the same standard as their predecessors? And how will that affect the status of their community? These investigation questions led us to our creation.
From there, we started to create, which one of the ideas that we had was programs within the NHI. This would help us develop high school students' knowledge, social justice, advocacy programs. We want to approach it in a different way than what were the attendees before us trying to approach it. It is the importance of the equality in the society from different social advocates from around the country, changing the dynamic of the past generations by improving the community for the years to come. After that, we decided to provide opportunities for clubs in high school about NHIs because we know the future is within the students. These programs would be technology-based, meaning computers and tablets would be lent out to the members of the team. These clubs would not only take place within the same people in the schools, but the technology will allow students from other schools to collaborate with the different mindsets of the different clubs, whether being on the computer or even on VR, and they are available and now very affordable. The VRs, as of now, are very affordable, and maybe in the future they will become more affordable. Students who have previously been part of the NHI can be open to a club within their school. This will show leadership from their part and spread more importance of the aid of larger audience in the high school students and the community. It will benefit those who are involved and those who are being informed along within the expansion of the participants in the Institute. We have come to the conclusion that we want to do both of these creations. We want to provide the high schools with these clubs, and within these clubs, we will add the programs that NHI has then included, because in these clubs, having more information about NHI will allow NHI to expand and get more leaders in the Latin community. In our reflections, we decided from the programs, it can be unrealistic that many people will not be interested in the first few years or months, but that's a given because you need to have more advertisement, and we decided we're going to do the advertisement with social media and so on. It is realistic that there is a higher chance of equality in the community because of the different advances in the schools. Unrealistically, schools would not like to sponsor the club within the adult supervision. Realistically, students will be the leaders and speak about social advocacy. They will learn to be responsible and create a vision for the Latinx community as the generations to go on. Because the population is growing, we will have to consider the way the charter schools, private schools, and public schools run their programs. Since it will be a club run by high school students, there does need to be an adult or someone that has already graduated from high school, basically a sponsor for them. If the school can provide the adult, then NHI volunteers can be the chaperones. Students that show to be engaging and making a change within their community or within their club would be put in a raffle for a scholarship that will then be sponsored by different universities or their college career.
And our next step of the IBL process would be our planning. And to start off, our timeline, we would start in the year of 2051 And as years pass, we would increase participation from the Latinx community and have a fully functioning program by 2055. So first, we need a fundraise. We would ask for donations from organizations and institutes already associated with NHI, like Wells Fargo, State Farm, and colleges and universities like UNT. We would advertise on social media and put out flyers in high schools by the students so we can get our programs out there. And we would like to receive approval from NHI to create these programs and clubs within high schools. We would look for specific schools that are tailored to NHI's values and contact high school counselors and have them recommend innovative, intelligent, resourceful, and compassionate students for this program. And since technology will be more advanced, communication within the clubs from different regions could be better communicated, and larger audiences will benefit from the different ideas. And moving on to our evaluate. We evaluated what would we need to change. We would need to know the plan would be evaluated by the amount of students attending each program, our students returning to NHI programs, and comparing and contrasting on a yearly basis. What would we need to implement? We would need to make sure that we have an adult supervisor for each of the clubs. And what did we not carefully consider because we are in the future and we don't know what the future holds? We don't know the different technological advancements that the year 2051 will have in our lives. And to end this presentation, I would like to end with a statement, fundamental number 17. If it's meant to be, it's up to me. This to us means we are ready to take on the future because we are prepared to continue making change, where our future is in our hands and we have the ability to continue to make an impact on our community. This is Team Texas, and thank you.
Good job. Big round of applause. Guys, that concludes. Big round of applause. Give us your virtual applause. Good job. I'd like to go gallery view to see everything. Guys, excellent job, excellent job, excellent job. I think we are going to take about, Julio, would you say about a 10-minute break? So that we can regroup, and then we'll bring back in and we'll start closing down the ceremony, and we will do our senior recognition and then our parting words. So at that point, I'd like to tell you guys that we will see you at 5:15. Please stay connected. You can mute your mics and your cameras, and we will see each other again in 10 minutes at 5:15. Thank you very much. right, guys, I think that we are ready to be back. That 10-minute break, I imagine, felt like 10 seconds. But congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, for completing this year's 2021 CWSx program with the National Hispanic Institute. Give yourselves a big round of applause. I'm going to do my virtual applause here. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. I'd like to welcome to those viewing live on NHI TV, to parents, to guests watching. I'd like to thank the students, the participants for your participation, and also the staff for making this up and going. You know, for those who are just kind of tuning in, this has been a 5-day roller coaster. We're broken down into 2 parts. As I mentioned prior to, students competed for 3 days in the league series of the Collegiate World Series CWS program, in which college admissions officers coached them through the college admissions process. They got direct access, direct knowledge, tips, things that they could do to really strengthen their college applications as they go through the college admissions process. At that point, at the conclusion of that league series, we moved into the thought series, which is really, as I mentioned, opening up, is a tool, an analysis tool for the participants to use in evaluating situations, going through a methodical process to help them gain better understanding so they can make more better informed decisions on things that are going to directly impact their life, the lives of their families, their friends, their communities, all in a good way, and how we can maximize our experience, but also help us look at things objectively, take an analytical approach, and continue to hone in on those skills and moving forward. The thought series, we implemented the IBL, which is inquiry-based learning, and the participants, some of you guys for your children or your friends, have gone through where they've given a very difficult, challenging situation, and they had to spend a very short amount of time to really get deep in a deep understanding of the root challenge, and then begin to go through their process to formulate and create. And I think you guys just witnessed what they've been doing. Very impressive. All of that being done in a very short period of time, and we are coming to a conclusion. And then I leave this for the participants. This is just the beginning. This process, this introduction of IBL should be something you guys should put into practice every day. We talked about it and shared personal stories about using it with the organization itself, with families, with money, and soon with college selection, which was going to be very important when you guys begin having those difficult conversations with your parents when it comes to the best school for you, affording college, which major you're selecting, where will you go? Will it be far away? Will it be in-state? Will it be private? Will it be public? A lot of questions, and we hope that you guys are able to take away what you've learned from this and use that IBL process so that you are making the best decisions for you and your futures moving forward. And you're including your support systems like us, your peers, and I say us, I mean the NHI family and these things, and make sure that you guys are using your resources to help you guys achieve your goals and dreams. So again, congratulations. I want to give you applaud and recognize your hard work and your commitment for being here, for being consistent, for being energetic, and constantly participating. At this point, big round of applause. Give yourselves a big round of applause, the participants, because it's a grueling 5 days and you guys stuck through it. Long days, but happy that you guys are here. At this point, I'd like to turn the mic over to one of our staff, Stephanie Aranda, who is going to read a poem.
Hello, everyone. I'll be reading a poem called It Couldn't Be Done by Edgar Albert Guest. Somebody said that it couldn't be done, but he with a chuckle replied that maybe it couldn't, but he wouldn't be the one who wouldn't say so till he tried. So he buckled right in with a trace of a grin on his face. If he worried, he hid it. He started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. Somebody scoffed, "Oh, you'll never do that. At least no one ever has done it." But he took off his coat, and he took off his hat, and the first thing we knew, he'd begun it. With the lift of his chin and a bit of a grin, without any doubting or quit it, he started to sing as he tackled the thing that couldn't be done, and he did it. There are thousands to tell you it cannot be done. There are thousands to prophesy failure. There are thousands to point out to you, one by one, the dangers that wait to assail you. But just buckle in with a bit of a grin. Just take off your coat and go to it. Just start in to sing as you tackle the thing that cannot be done, and you'll do it. Congratulations, class of 2021 CWSx participants.
Thank you, Stephanie. At this point, I'd like to introduce, for those who don't know, again, for some of you guys who are participating in NHI programs for the first time, I'd like to preface you guys with a video by the founder, Mr. Ernesto Nieto, who founded the organization with Gloria de Leon back in 1979. He is an incredible visionary who has always believed in the youth, in the power of our community, and has always seen our community, the Latino community, the youth, as assets. And how can we continue to grow and build upon and make our future better and enhance the quality of life. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we are going to show a short video by the founder of the National Hispanic Institute, Mr. Ernesto Nieto, who also happens to be my father.
So now that the CWS is over, it's not over, it's just really the beginning. I want to first of all thank you for having been part of this experience, having been part, for those of you that are the three-peaters, the Great Debate, the LDZ, and now the CWS. It's been a wonderful experience. Now you're going to enter your senior year, plan for college, and what's crazy is that in about 12 months, you're going to be flying off somewhere to some university somewhere in this country or elsewhere. And you're going to begin an entirely different chapter in your life. If there's anything that I want you to continue doing is that learning didn't stop with the first part of LDZ, CWS, or the Great Debate. Now you're into the second part. We call it the Collegiate Leadership Network, the CLN. I want you to be part of understanding NHI from a theoretical point of view, from a concept point of view. I want you to become familiar with words like community social entrepreneurship, community equity building, what third reality really means. In order for you to do anything creative and new, you can't look to a book. It's got to come out of your mind. But you have to get your mind and mental thoughts ready to invent and to design something completely different. That's not easy to do because we're so trained, we're so linear in how we learn that we think that everything we can find in books or in AOL or whatever source that the computer gives us, that all we need to do is push a button and the answer pops out. In this case, you're going to be asked, or at least requested as part of the NHI experience, to create information, to substantiate your information, and to understand that the information you produce has value and buy-in by the Latino community. This is going to be your focus for the next 3 years. Afterwards, you're going to become part of our community education ongoing programs as you become an assistant PA, a PA, an ED, a faculty member, or a specialist in the organization, eventually playing a role as a board member, as president of the Institute, as executive vice president, or in charge of some programs. This is an ongoing experience, the learning process, the introduction of NHI into the Latino community globally. So there's so much to do and so much fun to have from these exercises. And I look forward to being as much a part of this as I can. I again want to thank your parents and your schools and your sponsors and everyone else who's participated in this amazing journey. Good luck to you and thank you again.
Thank you for the message from the founder of the National Hispanic Institute, Mr. Ernesto Nieto. Now, moving on, it is customary for the Collegiate World Series, the CWS, that during the course of the program, we like to highlight two individuals. Typically, we do it a valedictorian of the program, which is the student with the overall highest GPA, just like a traditional valedictorian. But this year we're doing something different. We'd like to recognize two student speakers who are going to address you guys and leave you guys with some parting words. I'd like you guys to give a big round of applause for your two speakers. I will read their name and where they're from. I'll just go one by one. The very first speaker, hailing from Donna, Texas, is a student at Idea Donna in Donna, Texas, on the valley, Rio Grande Valley, near the border. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for your first student speaker, Paula De Leon.
Hello. I just want to say thank you for this recognition, as well as we've all worked super hard in this program, and I personally can tell you I am super proud of my team, my group, and every group personally, because your all's presentations were amazing. My group has really outdone the way that I can work as a leader. We all work together, and we all decided to get out of our box and be more active, speak, get out of the mic, collaborate. And I saw that because when we were doing the presentation, we were collaborating a lot, and we all learn different principles from this, especially from this intellectual, this building. It's changed my mentality and the way that I ask questions, because I never thought that I would ask so many questions based on one question. And also, in school, I've now noticed that maybe I will use this in school, and I will implement it with my friends and with my teammates from school, even with my teachers. Probably I will tell them about the experience that I've had here. I was really nervous because it was presentation versus presentation versus presentation. But this has really prepared me to not be as afraid, even though we had so little time to do something that was so new. We figured it out that with whatever amount of time that you have, you could still complete the project that they're giving you, or the obstacle that is being given to you. And that, as a Latina, that means a lot that we are being represented in this program as well, because there's not many recognition towards the Latin community. And I was so happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paula. Paula de Leon from Donna, Texas. Idea Donna. Congratulations. Our next speaker, student speaker to address the 2021 class of the CWSx. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Donna Munoz from McAllen, Texas. Idea McAllen.
Good afternoon, members, staff, and NHI alumni. My name is Ana Munoz, and like mentioned before, I am a student at Idea McAllen College Prep. And today I want to ask you a question. Do you know who you are? Thomas Jefferson, the third US president, quoted, "Do you want to know who you are? Don't ask, act. Action will delineate you and define you." So today I call you to act in your communities. We've had the opportunity to be in this amazing NHI program that has given us the tools that we need to create impacts, to become the future leaders, and to create what we want of our futures. The Thought series and League series have both given us hard questions, hard things that we need to overcome as individuals. We are all representatives of different communities. Dallas, New York, the RGB, Illinois. I have found so many different opportunities here to connect, to network, to become a leader of my community. So I ask that you do the same with your actions and with your words. So thank you, the NHI community, for this opportunity. And well, I hope you guys go and act in your communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Big round of applause for Donna Munoz. At this point, I'd like to turn the mic over to Julio Cotto.
Thank you, Mark. So thank you also to our student speakers. It's just so outstanding, especially a big shout out to the IDEA Public Schools. For several years, IDEA, that school district, that charter district, has annually invested real hard dollars to make sure that their junior class has an opportunity to participate in the Collegiate World Series, whether it's been in person or the last 2 summers digitally, and helping be pioneers in launching this digital experience. So just a shout out to a former school district of the year for NHI, IDEA Public Schools. Just thank you for continuing to invest in the CWS and making sure that your juniors, even first time NHI juniors, like these 2 young women, have an opportunity to be part of this delegation. Of course, it's probably been said numerous times before through a variety of different activities this year and last year. We would have loved to have been in person, but I also have enjoyed having the chance to, from a computer, connect with so many of you. But don't fear not, you will be receiving some special tokens and gifts from the National Hispanic Institute over the coming weeks. Do expect that in the mail you will be receiving very soon your official CWSx t-shirt that you may have seen some of the staff wearing or students from last summer, your official NHI badge, your official NHI journal. Those will be coming your way. And I know for those of us who've been around the Institute a long time, we know that a lot of us keep those badges, and I've seen in rooms and in different offices, people who keep those badges commemorating all of the experiences they did as students and as volunteers. In addition, you will receive very soon a diploma that will honor your completion of the NHI High School Academy, whether this was your first, second, or third year of participation. And it is, and we are very specific, that is a completion of the High School Academy. As you heard Ernesto, as you heard Mark, and as I'm sure you'll hear from others in the NHI family, this is only the beginning. This is just the first 1 to 3 years of participation. But as someone who's been with the organization since 1997, I can promise you it only gets better. The network gets bigger, the friendships get deeper. And I can attest from just being logged in with you the last few days, the learning never, ever stops, ever, ever. And I know I've done a lot of learning, and I've done a lot of IBLing and reflecting. And to commemorate the learning, We will also be sending you, along with your diploma of the high school academy, we will be sending you some very special NHI honor cords, a tradition that was started just about 10 years ago. And whether you did 1, 2, or 3 programs with the Institute over your high school career, the colors that you receive will indicate that. Those will be coming your way. And starting this fall, I know many of you will have some senior recognition events. And so those will be in your hand so that you are able to tell the world and show the world that you are a member of this outstanding international leadership organization. You'll have them there for award ceremony. You'll have them for graduation. So be on the lookout for those. We just wanted to take a moment to congratulate you one more time, class of 2022. Be on the lookout in the mail over the coming weeks for those tokens and gifts. Then that will hopefully be the final commemoration that we will give you as you go into your senior year. So congratulations one more time, and I will pass it back to your education director, Mark.
Thank you very much, Julio. All right, so now that we have gone through this, I'd like to recognize this year's class of 2022. You're going into your final senior year. Many of you guys have completed your NHI training experience, high school training experience. And while we have been virtual, that doesn't mean that we can't create connections. And so I'm going to ask for all participants to turn on their cameras. Keep your mics muted, but turn on your cameras. We'd like to recognize you guys for your peers. For some of you guys who didn't participate to the General Assembly, but were active in your teams, this is a great opportunity for you guys to put a face with the voice and the name. So if everyone wouldn't mind turning on their camera. When I call your name, everyone turn on their camera. I'm checking, I'm checking, I'm checking. When I call your name, you will be spotlighted. We'd like for everyone to be able to recognize you and put a face with your name. We talked about this in the League series. I'll again reiterate, learn to market yourselves, put yourselves out there, be proud of who you are, your accomplishments, and let people know who you are. So put a face with the name. All right. First participant for the class of 22 and the 2021 NHI CWSx, Ashley Abrego. Hi, Ashley. Next, Roman Ansaldua. If you guys want to put it on the speaker view so that they can see, get a big, nice image of their face. Mariana Camacho Perez. Paula De Leon. Natasha Flores Acon. Marifer Garza. Marifer. Victoria Gasca. Emilio Gonzalez. Camilia Ruel. Zoe Hernandez. Anjali Kota. Miranda Panes. Lauren Lopato. Bryant Luna Ramos. Isabella McClemmy. Nathan Macias. Zoe Martin Arriaga. Evan Martinez. Daisy Mendez. Veronica Mendoza. Jules Mesa. Dana Munoz. Isabella Munoz. Azul Palacios. Joel Peña. Janelle Porras. Natalia Quevedo. Angie Ramirez. Betty Ramirez. Joshua Rivera. Andy Rodriguez. Angela Rodriguez. Zoe Rodriguez. Chrisney Romero. Ariana Cifuentes. Emily Soto. Viviana Tamez. You guys spotlighted me. Annie Thomas. Annie. Vincent Torres. Robbie Violante. Jonathan Warden. Haley Wilson. Isabella Zapata. If there's anyone I missed, please drop in the chat so that we can recognize you for any reason if we missed. If not, I have Jocelyn Garcia. I have Anel. Let me find your name here, Anel. Fernanda Ipachi. Jadrian Rodriguez. there anyone else we missed? Please drop it in. Congratulations, guys. Big round of applause for this year's 2022 class. At this point, guys, I'd like to turn the mic and the camera over. Julio, is Nicole here?
I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to turn the mic over to the Executive Vice President of the National Hispanic Institute, and also my sister, Miss Nicole Nieto.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see you. I'm just delighted to see you guys here, all your beautiful faces, and I'm here from NHIHQ, and I wanted to start by wishing Mark a happy birthday. He has been with you guys all day, and so not even my text messages can get answered because he's just completely committed and dedicated to CWS students. So congratulations, Mark, on your birthday. Also, Stephanie, I had the privilege of coming in right when you were reading your poem, and it was just gorgeous. And you're right. I mean, you guys are unstoppable, and you're going to go into the world and have the tools. People often ask me, what is it that distinguishes a student who's done CWS versus a student who hasn't, and they're applying to college and so on. And the college and university reps often tell me the depth of thinking that a CWS graduate has reflects their true abilities. They are not, do you know what window dressing is, anyone? Where you make, you look the part, you can kind of seem like the part, but deep down, you can't pull that content out. You can't pull out the real thinking that's gone into what your dreams are. And what I'm always proud of is all the work that you put in and how hard these questions are and how many questions you ask. And it truly does make you think. So when you sit down to write that college essay, when you sit down for an interview with your dream school, you're going to feel confident that you deliver. And it was always so special to go through. Even I was well, Julio and Mark also have been a trainer. If you've known Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and the CWS program is we look for those graduates actually to come back to the organization because we know they have already been exposed to great thinking, and that they're thinkers, and that they're learners, and that they're not going to use ego to get in the way, that they're actually looking for the core truth of whatever we're dealing with. And when you have that ability in life, you are going to be the power players and the heavy hitters in our community. And a lot of people won't be able to do what you have been introduced in to do. Some of the great thinkers of the world, one of them, in my opinion, who just passed away and mentored us in building the CWS program, his name was Dr. Arthur Friedman. You can look him up on nhimagazine.com. We recently wrote an article, and he put in so much of the curriculum here. And he was there to train the great CEOs of our time and to train the great leaders of huge organizations that were having to think when Russia is communist country, and they called him in to think about how would you introduce a free capitalistic society in a country like Russia that had a communist background. How do you introduce these changing concepts to mass groups of people? So what I just want you to know that is as difficult as the CWS curriculum is, you are operating with the greats and the great thinkers of our time to have to go through this kind of thing. And I don't want you to underestimate what your power will be if you continue to use questions as the basis for figuring things out in life. And so I just want to congratulate you, because it's not an easy curriculum. Oftentimes you'll think, well, what the heck, or can't we just jump to the solution? And we began to realize that using those questions will definitely make a larger impact on society than just jumping to the first easy answer we think of. So congratulations on going through that. I'm so excited for you. And I just also wanted to say I love Dana and Paula, how inspiring to hear you as the top students in the NHI class. All of you are fantastic, wonderful young people who have so much ahead of you, and we need your brains. I mean, you're going to go off and do all these crazy things in life, but the most important thing about you is you have brains and you are committed and you want to come back and help. And we need you over here. We need your dedication. And we have a JFL intern video that's going to be playing. I think you have it there, Julio. That we're going to invite you back after your freshman year in college. I want you to consider coming to NHI and working as an intern and helping us advance the CWS, advance the LDZ, advance the Great Debate, train younger members of the organization as they come into the fold, and help us think about how we can do a better job of delivering this type of education and curriculum. And so you are all cordially invited to apply for that after your freshman year in college. And we have a video, but also I just wanted to say thank you, because Wells Fargo Bank, they reached out to me and said, how do we help? And I said, the number one kind of taboo area for students is that financial aid. They all want to go to college. They're all super qualified, but sometimes navigating that is tough. So they contributed some funds. You may have seen some surveys come out. If you haven't done the survey, what the survey helps us with is knowing what your needs are and what you need to know, so we can better construct that kind of information for you. So if you have that opportunity to fill out the surveys that we've given, it would really help us out. But I'd like to thank our sponsor, Wells Fargo. The other university that's just deeply committed to you guys, loves you guys, they call us the NHI family anytime they write to us, is University of North Texas. And they were ordinarily, as you know, this program's in person, and this year we just couldn't do too many in-person programs due to COVID, but they're 100% behind you. If you haven't thought of going to UNT, it is the gem of Texas. I love that campus. They've got so much stuff over there, resources for you guys. So put it on. If you haven't thought of applying there, I would make it one of my choices because it's just got everything. It's right near Dallas. You're going to be introduced to the business community there in Dallas, and it's a fantastic school, and they just adore NHI students. So consider that. And there's just so many other people who've made this summer possible through their contributions or donations. And I would like to just thank everyone. I think we have a slide, Julio, if you can just play those and then potentially just play the JFL presentation. Yes, there were some people who made funds available to allow students to attend the programs. There's some of them there. We're excited about St. Francis University up in the northeastern part of the country. UC Berkeley helped sponsor Great Debate students, and that was the first time we've really been working with UC Berkeley. Super happy. There's another slide there, Julio, if you can go. Also, these families have helped us underwrite some of the awards. As you know, we give out trophies and awards at our GDX and LDZ programs, and so these are being made available through these sponsors. And then there's one more. And these individuals helped support students, and State Farm is a huge sponsor of NHI programs. We're so excited that they continue now for our 4th year to sponsor us, to work on GDX, to work on CWS and the various programs that we do. So we thank these and these agents from State Farms who've also given funds. And finally, is there any others? The JFL video, this is the intern that I'm working with right now. If you didn't know, for the first time, we're going into the Southeast United States. So if you wind up in college in Georgia or in Tennessee, I need to know, because we're going to try to begin engaging students from those 2 communities, and we've not really worked there in the past. So we're super excited about it. And this year we have our first 4 students from Tennessee participating in the GDX. And you guys may be seeing an NHI program happening in that area of the country, trying to work things out with that. And of course, as you know, CWSers are the first people we're going after to come back and help staff those programs. So we need your help on that, and we'll definitely be in touch. So Julio, if you have that JFL video, please show it. I would love for them to see it.
My name is Debony Guerrero and I attend Sewanee, the University of the South. The JFL internship at NHI to me means being part of an organization that is in support of helping the future Latino community, as well as giving me the opportunity to become a leader myself. From this experience, I have been working with Nicole Nieto, who is the Executive Vice President, and she has been coaching me on how to construct emails, learning how to do outreach, and also learning how to communicate with people over the phone. I value all of these skills that I've been learning because in the future, I would like to major in international and global studies, and I feel that this internship has been preparing me professionally so that I learn how to make those connections with people I have never met. I encourage NHI students to take the opportunity of becoming a JFL intern because it allows them to progress in everything that they have learned in previous programs, such as the GDX, LDZ, and the CWS. I think that this would be a great opportunity to learn what it is to have a supervisor or a boss and learning how to handle those different kinds of responsibilities along the way so they can be prepared for their future. All in all, take advantage of all of your opportunities in life y dale ganas.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. Congratulations on your graduation ceremony today. And we're looking forward to hearing all the wonderful places you're going to be headed off to college. And now back to Julio. Thank you.
So I think we have some announcements to make here. Thank you, Nicole, for taking the time to be with us today. Thank you, Julio. Again, thank you for anyone who's live streaming, parents, for your support, friends. I think we have some announcements to make. Am I right on this one, guys? So I am going to turn the mic over to one of our interns, our JFL interns. You guys know her, some of you guys know her as your coach. And she is going to announce the top two teams, and she is going to talk and announce who the winner of this year's 2021 CWSx Thought Series. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Alexis Alvarado.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to have been a part of this program and be the tournament director for the first CWS of the summer. And from behind the scenes, I've been able to see how much you have grown, and I'm immensely proud of every single one of you. So without further ado, I'm going to announce the top two teams of the 2021 CWSx1 Thought Series. Our top two teams are the Wildcards and the Mavericks. Congratulations. Let's hear some applause in the chat. And now the winner and the champion of the Thought Series of the 2021 CWSx1 is, our drum roll, the Wildcards. Congratulations to Natasha Flores-Acton, Daisy Mendez, Nathan Macias, Camila Guel, Ariana Cifuentes, Isabella McClemmy, and Mariana Camacho Perez. Congratulations to these students.
Congratulations, Wildcards. Job well done. Kudos to you guys. For anyone who's watching, again, I love the reference of Uno and how it became the wild cards. Congratulations on winning, being this year's winners of the 2021 CWS Thought Series. At this point, I'd like to turn the mic back over to my co-ED here, Mr. Julio Cotto.
They did it. They really did it. And again, to remind you all of the history that was made last year, we did not have a virtual thought series. We did not have a digital senior recognition. And you were pioneers that this summer were the first class ever to complete the entire CWS experience online. Just congratulations to all of you. And we know that this would have not been possible without some very special people. We had a different team that came on Monday than those that worked with us in the league series. We had a thought series team that was geared up, ready, some of them returning for their third, even fourth staffing role with CWS over the years. And we want to take a moment to recognize them. And when their names are called, we hope that we have the opportunity to spotlight them also a little bit and see their wonderful faces, because these are the individuals that really the majority of time the last 2 days have been with the students, have been coaching them, have probing, asking those questions, keeping them accountable to the process, keeping them accountable to their own goals and desire to learn and grow. And so first, our youngest staff member, our umpire and junior mentor from Laredo, Texas, Camila Colin. Oh, she had to leave to work. And so she's doing a million different things, but thank you to Camila. She was also with us last week. And our senior mentors. A graduate of Drexel University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, recently just graduated not too long ago, originally from San Antonio, Texas. You heard her reading the official poem in her graduation regalia. She's been with NHI every single summer since high school. Stephanie Aranda, and congratulations on your graduation and the beginning of your architecture career.
Thank you.
Also, from the East Coast, studied in the East Coast, a graduate of the College of St. Rose from the Bronx, New York. He's part of an NHI family. He and his siblings both participating in NHI annually. If he's with us, I know he is an entrepreneur and runs several businesses. Ricardo Gonzalez, if you're still with us, thank you once again for coming and being logged in from New York City. These next individuals are from one of our partner institutions. This is the second year that we've had a team of outstanding interns and outstanding college students who've been working with us mostly virtually throughout the pandemic from the University of Chicago. This individual was new to NHI, but we've been able to embrace her really quickly. And I know some of you have gotten really close to her over the last two portions of the CWS. From Baltimore, Maryland, a John F. Lopez intern with NHI, a sophomore at the University of Chicago, Sophie Regales. Thank you, Sophie. It's been great to have you part of the team this summer. Also from the University of Chicago, also entering into her sophomore year, and a John F. Lopez intern with us this summer online from Norfolk, Nebraska. Welcome to the NHI family once again, Melissa Flores. I know Melissa will be with us again at the next programs. Thank you, Melissa, for being part of us this summer. Our next senior mentor from San Juan, Texas. We've been seeing her do the announcements at both the League and Thought Series. I think this is her fourth, maybe fifth program this summer. From San Juan, Texas, a sophomore this fall at the University of Texas at Austin, and a John F. Lopez intern here at NHI, Alexis Alvarado, our tournament director for both the League and Thought Series. And her neighbor and partner in crime over here at HQ, on my intern team, an outstanding addition to the HQ environment and community here in Maxwell, from San Antonio, Texas, a sophomore at our host institution, benefiting from that wonderful academic environment of the University of North Texas, Go Mean Green, John F. Lopez intern, Jareth Quintero Opatowski. And I know she may not be with us here in the building, but she's on the property. She was our National Stay Safe officer, and she's been doing a lot of behind the scenes work since we got started last week, and even just a few moments ago, coming in to check on us. Thank you, Jasmine, for keeping all of us safe and healthy this summer. in our in-person programs, online, and helping us get this program going last week. And lastly, if she can spotlight herself, a special recognition to this young woman, a graduate this year, just graduated a few weeks ago, spoke at graduation at Pitzer College in the LA area, a longtime staffer at the International CWS, Texas CWS, 2 years at the controls behind the scenes of CWSx, one of the 2 women that helped us create this virtual space. She came back for one more summer because in about a month or so, she'll be leaving to Spain for a year as a Fulbright scholar. So congratulations and thank you, Veronica, for the 2 summers of helping us here with CWSx. We'll miss you and congratulations on your Fulbright and enjoy your time in Spain. Hopefully some of us will get a chance to visit. And so thank you all to the staff. And lastly, again, happy birthday. And thank you to this individual who's been part of CWS and the Thought Series for over a decade, our most experienced IBL trainer and part of the family that got this whole thing going. And I'm gonna pass it to him to help us finish off. Ladies and gentlemen, your education director, Mark Nieto.
Thank you again, Julio. Participants, give yourselves a big round of applause for sticking it out for these last 5 days and sticking with us. Thank you, guys. I'm going to applaud so that you guys can hear it. You did it. You did it. For some of you guys, this is a bittersweet moment. It's a bittersweet moment because this concludes your high school NHI participation. Some of the participants here have participated in the Great Debate, the LDZ, and now the CWS. For some of you guys, that's it. It's like your senior year. At the end of 2020, well, your high school career in 2022, your high school career is done and you will embark on new adventures. But bittersweet because while we are sad that you can't participate in any more of the high school NHI programs, that doesn't mean that your role with NHI stops. It doesn't mean that your commitment to your community and your personal commitment to yourself doesn't continue. What I always appreciate about the CWS, and it is my favorite program, because while we talk about college, what we're really doing is preparing ourselves for life. We introduced you guys to a concept about IBL. And what is the importance of college? Why do I have to go to college? Why do I need a college degree? There's a lot of questions that you can ask yourself, but ultimately, this is a life decision. We say college, but your decision is going to change the lives of many people. When I talked about the beginning of what it means for some of you guys, you might be the very first ones going to college in your family. When my sister went to Poughkeepsie, New York, to Vassar College up in New York, it was like a funeral when she left. All of us crying. My aunt couldn't even make it out of the car, couldn't do it. And for many of you guys, when you leave, it's like cutting off the arm, right, of a family member. But my sister took off, opened up our experiences, studied in Spain, studied in Mexico, and it really gave me an introduction of what I wanted out of life. That caused me to move to Argentina, to be an entrepreneur, to give my family, make time with my family something that's important to me. And this process that you guys were introduced to, we hope that you guys begin using that over and over when you begin making those decisions in your life. And again, we give you guys a challenge, really difficult challenge, and you guys accepted it and you excel. Don't stop challenging yourself. Challenge yourselves every day to be better versions of yourself. Continue honing in on your skills so that you guys can continue to make an impact on our community, on your family, and most important, on yourselves, and that you guys get what you want and not what you settle for. That is a big message from me, is work for what you want. Don't settle because you weren't prepared or that you guys didn't put in the extra work it takes. We are going to be behind you guys as a family, the NHI family, as a community, as friends, as people who care about you, and we're going to be there applauding along the way. So when you're thinking about your college decision, IBL it. When you're thinking about what you're planning on studying, IBL it. When you're thinking about how to pay for college, IBL it. Don't underestimate your most valuable asset, and that's yourself and those beautiful minds. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for participating in this year's 2021 CWSx program. We wish you guys the best of luck. Have fun your senior year. You guys have earned it. And please, 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 please continue to be involved in NHI because your role is important to the growth of our community and our leadership capacities. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your night. I'm going to leave and go have some birthday cake. Thank you for giving me a great present and spending the day with you guys. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.